Maybe you've never cast a film, so you don't even know how to go about it during COVID time. Well, I've got the process and tips on how to get the best actors for your film. Welcome explorers, my name is Patrick Bellix, and this is my YouTube experiment where I make films with a crew of one. Great news since we last spoke. I booked a location and I cast our film and I shot our film, Play Along, on March 10th. Speaking of casting, which is one of my favorite parts of filmmaking, I actually started out as an actor, and so working with actors is one of my favorite parts and where I really feel in my element when it comes to filmmaking. Now, a lot has changed since COVID started, so we don't have these big rooms where we do these cattle calls bringing in actors and seeing one after the other after the other. A lot is done over Zoom nowadays, and from what I've heard, this is the inside scoop, this ain't going away. Like a lot of corporate America, we're starting to see the benefits of doing away with the in-person aspect, at least partially, so that we can save everyone a lot of time. So how do you go about this? Well, this is what I did. I started out by posting on theater in Chicago. Now, I used to cast theater, and so I would go to theater in Chicago frequently to post my audition postings, but you can also go there to post audition notices for films as well. It's a great resource for a lot of great talent in the city, so don't feel as though you cannot post there just because it's a film.
In whatever area you're actually viewing this in,
you can actually find several different audition posting websites. A lot of them are geared towards film, so feel free to post there as well. I'm sure they'd be happy to carry the listing. But if you want something that's more catered towards filmmaking and is ubiquitous everywhere, go to backstage.com. Not a sponsor. Now, what you should be including in your posting: include a description of the film itself, as in the plot. You'll want to include character names, their general ages that you're looking for, and then how they identify as a gender. It's also good to include another description of that character that gives them a little bit more of a direction on where they should be going. Be sure to also include the dates of your shoot and the dates of any other rehearsal, basically the entire time commitment that the actor is going to have to work with. If you don't know those dates, you probably shouldn't be posting the listing. Actors are not going to feel as though that they can submit for a film or a theater project when they don't know what the time commitment is. We all have lives outside of our art. Now, how it used to work is we would have these general auditions where a lot of actors would come in. They might do a monologue that they have in their back pocket in order to show off their acting skills. And then you would have a callback where you bring in actors and have them read sides, which are the pieces of the script that are shorter in length.
And then you would bring the finalists in for a second callback before you made your final decision. This is all kind of archaic now. Even while I was doing theater,
I cut out the general auditions and would just have somebody submit their headshot and resume, and if I felt as though they fit well with whatever role I was trying to cast, I would bring them in for a initial reading, which would be the sides from the script, and then I would have callbacks after that. In television especially, there are actually a series of callbacks. You hear about actors who are auditioning for leads in television, and they'll have 5, 6, 7, 8 callbacks and then maybe not get it. So during COVID, I think that the best way that you can handle this is post on backstage.com. People can submit their headshots and resumes, and then you can choose who you would like to read for the role. You then request that they send in a self-tape. Be very explicit about how to do a self-tape. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people in this industry who have never done a self-tape before because it's kind of a new thing. It's not completely new, but definitely there are people out there who have never done one before. When they do a self-tape, they should have a reader, which is somebody who is off screen, who is reading the script with them. The reader does not have to identify as the same gender as the character they are reading for. You might want to request a slate at the top of the recording in order to be able to help you organize the videos better. And then you'll probably want to give them at least one piece of direction of what you're looking for in the reading itself. Be sure to check any messages or emails that you get during this time because people are going to have questions, and it's really best if you get back to them as soon as possible. When providing sides for a self-tape, be sure to choose an appropriate length and the appropriate sides for the character. Do not begin in the middle of the scene when the character is already crying. Give them something to build up to. Give something that is going to be a general indication of that character's personality. Usually, in terms of the page-a-minute rule with filmmaking, try and give them 1.5 pages in order to work with, 2 pages tops. Hopefully the sides that you choose are a core trait of the personality of that character or a key moment in the film that you want to make sure that you get right. Next is the fun part. Depending on the roles that you're requesting, there should be a slew of requests coming in for these roles, and you get to go through and look at all the different headshots and resumes and find your perfect actor. Only choose the actors that you feel are the most right for the role. Try not to waste anybody's time. If you really enjoy their self-tape, you can cast them right then and there outright, like I did with Play Along, or you can have callbacks. In this case, Zoom callbacks. Again, normally this would be in a room when you do an in-person meeting, but because of the situation we're in, we have to do Zoom callbacks where you're gonna try and find out if this actor works well with you, takes direction, and generally is going to fit well with this production. The number one priority when doing a callback is being definitively sure that the actor works well with your directing style, and then also that they can take direction in the first place. A lot of actors sometimes get very set in what they would like to do for this character and for this project, so sometimes it's harder to direct them towards what your vision for the project is. Make sure to give them a piece of direction that is a clear difference from what they are doing in that moment. It doesn't even actually have to be something that you are looking for in the final film. You're just seeing if they can take that direction. If you're doing an in-person callback, if you're watching this in the future, try to make sure that you can pair actors together so maybe they can read the same scene together. That way you can test their chemistry. Then we head over to casting the film. That's also the fun part. You get to let them know, and it's great. Get them to sign an agreement even if there is no payment involved, just so there's no legal issues down the way. If you need an example of an agreement, I do have one on my Patreon. You can find it at the link down below. All right, pro tip, something that nobody else is saying for some reason. Let your actors know if they didn't get the part. You will gain an enormous amount of respect from actors in your industry if you do this. It happens less than you'd think it would. Actors spend a lot of time preparing for an audition, and now they're spending even more time and more money to be able to produce these self-tapes that they can send to you. After doing all that, they're oftentimes left in the dark, so they don't know if they got the part or they didn't. They don't know if they should keep holding the dates for the shoot. Even a simple, hey, thanks so much for your submission. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I had to go with somebody else. I really hope that you submit for our films in the future. That's it. Let them know it's the polite, professional thing to do. Bonus round, rehearsals. Right now, if you're gonna do it, you can do it over Zoom, or you can do it socially distanced in a large room or a group setting outside, for instance. Rehearsals are gonna be really important for lone filmmaker projects or otherwise. In general, they're gonna help save you a lot of time. If you're able to have rehearsal in advance, you'll be able to get your general directing, acting notes out of the way, and it'll save you a lot of time when you're on set, focused on a lot of technical aspects. I would advise holding one rehearsal for at least every scene before it's filmed. You can kind of stagger it if you need to. So like I said before, I've spent the last few weeks casting, prepping, and filming Play Along. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell down below so you can see the film when I release it on the channel. So then you can see all the BTS and all of the tutorials and everything that I learned while making my first film with a crew of one. Thanks, bye.